Hi, my name is Andrea Cuellar. I did my presentation on a research article making a study if there are any differences in physical level and functional capacities among children and adolescents with or without asthma. So a little bit of background. Asthma is a serious public health problem worldwide, and it's one of the most common chronic diseases in childhood. According to a national school health survey that was made, Brazil is currently among the countries with the highest prevalence of asthma, with a rate of 23.2 among students. According to authors, this disease may still be growing in the students' population. Physical activity plays a fundamental role in the child's normal and growth development because it's an essential component in promoting health and quality of life. It is recommended for individuals with asthma as it assists in controlling the symptoms as well as increasing exercise tolerance and cardiorespiratory fitness. So in recent years, there has been a significant reduction in physical activity level and increased sedentary behavior in the pediatric age group. Children with asthma avoid playing or exercising because they're scared they will trigger their shortness of breath. The point of doing this study is to analyze the level of physical activity using two tools and functional capacity of children and adolescents with asthma and see if there is any limitations and to compare them with individuals without asthma. Basically finding out if having asthma is an excuse to not exercise. So there were two groups being tested. One group were participants 7 to 17-year-olds with asthma, and the second group were 7 to 17-year-olds without asthma. The study was initiated with a functional capacity evaluation. The test was a 6-minute walk test only for the kids up to 14-year-olds. The older ones were tested on a field test, which consisted of a circuit of 10 meters in which the participant must perform in the shortest time possible. It included activities such as walking, going up the stairs, moving objects from the upper limbs, and then returning to the starting position to restart the course. Cardiorespiratory parameters were evaluated before, during, and after the test. The second part of the study were a physical activity level evaluation. It started with a questionnaire to see everyone's fitness activity level, asking like, are you very active, irregulatory active, and sedentary, as well as frequency and duration. Participants were instructed to use the pedometer, which is a tool to count your steps, all day for 7 consecutive days before the day of evaluation. The annotation of values was made by the participant themselves in a standardized form created for the study and was later compared with the daily step recommendation for students. As far as data, 256 of asthma participants started the study, but at the end, only 145 were evaluated, and 203 of non-asthma participated individuals started the study, but at the end, only 173 were evaluated. Numbers dropped as some refused to keep participating. Some dependent variables included were age, height, weight, body mass index z-score, sex, and their interactions. There were no difference between the groups concerning age, height, weight, body mass index z-score, sex, ethnicity, and level of parental education. In the 6-minute walk test, the mean distance walked by the group without asthma was greater than the distance walked by the asthma group. As far as the field test, it took less time for the group without asthma to complete it. And as far as the daily step count test, the group without asthma had a median step count of 7,908, and the group with asthma had a median step count of 6,426.5. When classified into two groups, between poorly active and very active, it was found that the chance of being poorly active and sedentary in the asthma group was 2.2 times higher than in the without asthma group. So after doing the study and finding out the data, there was a difference in the performance of individuals without asthma in the physical activity and functional capacity test. The asthma group presented worse performance, and in the physical activity test, and regardless of the level of asthma control, presented worse functional capacity. The importance of insurance adequate preventive care for children and adolescents with asthma can be very seen. A few main takeaways is that there is a reduction in physical activity in children and adolescents, as well as an increase in sedentary behavior. Individuals with asthma have worse physical activity capacity than those without, as well as performance. And lastly, it is important for those with asthma to keep up their physical activity since it's very important for development and growth and just being overall healthy. So, some world applications that I thought about were myself because I actually was diagnosed with asthma at a very young age. And I remember my doctor strongly suggesting me to be physically active for my lungs to get strong. And so my parents kept me in sports all my years growing up. But there were moments where I would avoid it because I would get these asthma attacks every now and then. As far as the schools I went to, they offer a PE class that I remember were mandatory in elementary and middle school, which falls under this age group to keep them active, even if they don't stay active on their own time. So I think every country should have this in schools, even though I remember kids would still fake being sick to not go to schools when we had like a pacer test or a mild test. And this is my reference.